Alright, brothers, sisters, we're going to take a look at Isaiah 53, verse 1, picking up from where we left off. So it said, "Who had believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?" Alright, so it said, question is, who is the arm of the Most High revealed? Right? To whom? Now, we understand that once you see the Most High arm is being revealed, no, so the Most High is defending something, or the Most High is putting down some beat down on someone or something, right? So as the question is, who is the arm of the Most High revealed? We can look at Isaiah 52 and 10 and see what it said there. It said, "The Lord, who is the Most High, had made bare his holy arm in the eyes of the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our power for God." So it said the Lord had made bare his holy arms in the sight, in the eyes of all the nations. Whom does the Most High arm reveal? Right? Most High reveal his arm at times to the different nations, meaning Most High is putting down a beat down on the different nations. Even at times the Most High have to beat down Israel. Right? But the Most High arm is like his protection. Right? You can look at Exodus 6 and 6. So it said, who is the arm of the Most High revealed? Looking at Exodus 6 and 6. Exodus 6 verses 6. It said, "Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Most High, or I am the Lord, and I bring you out from under the burden of the Egyptian, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgment." Deuteronomy 11, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 2. It said, "I know you this day, for I speak not with your children, which have not known and which have not seen the chastisement of the Most High your power, his greatness, his mighty hands, and his stretched out arm, and his miracle and his acts, which he did in the midst of Egypt, unto Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and unto all his land." So the Most High is revealing his arm, as we can see there. You can look at Deuteronomy 26:8. We can go down to 26:8. It said, "And the Lord Most High brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs, and with wonders." Backing up what is that said in Deuteronomy 11:2 verse 3. You can also look at Psalms 44. Psalms 44 verses 1 to 6. And it said, "We have heard with our ears, O God, our fathers have told us what work thou didst in their days, in the time of old. O thou didst drive out the Eden with thy hand, and planted them. O thou didst afflict the people, and cast them out. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but thy right hand and thy arm, in the light of thy countenance, because thou hast a favor unto them. Thou art my king, O God, command deliverance for Jacob. Through thee will we push down our enemies. Through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me." So you will see where the Most High arm is being revealed. Right? So the Most High revealed his arm to the rest of the nations, and so you reveal his arm to Israel by protecting them. Right? It said, continue, verse 2, "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him." So Christians are those who believe that this is speaking about JUSS. Will say, you see, it said he. It said he. It said him. It's talking about one person. It's talking about one person. No. Right? I'm going to prove to you that Israel has been referred to as him, as he, as she, right? And it's still speaking about the nation and not one person. So, if you can look at Hosea 14 and 5. So let's go to Hosea 14 and 5. We're going to show you that Israel has been referred to as a he. Right? Hosea 14. Hosea 14. Hosea 14 and 5. Hosea. Nice little scripture. You have to find them because them so short, you know. Quick time it come and gone. Right. Just after Daniel. Hosea 14. And 5. It said, I will. So as Hosea 14 and 5. I will be as a dew unto Israel. He shall grow up as a lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon. And if you look at 6, it said, his branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree, and his smell as Lebanon. So, we see where the Most are referring to Israel as a he and as a his. We can go to Jeremiah 2. Jeremiah 2. And we see again. Jeremiah 2, chapter 2, verse 14. It said, is Israel a servant? Is he a home-born slave? Why is he spoiled? So we see again where Israel is referred to as a he. The nation of Israel is referred to as a singular, he. Right? Can also look at Jeremiah 48. So these are all places I'm showing you where Israel is referred to as a single entity, a he or a him, or even a her. So Jeremiah 48, 27. For was not Israel a derision unto thee? Was he found among thieves? For since those speak it of him, those keep it for joy. Let's read in Isaiah 53 again. It said, for he, who is the he? I just show you, Israel is referred to as an he. Right? So for he shall grow up before him. I just show you where Israel referred to as a him. Want to read it again? Jeremiah 48, 27. For was not Israel. So this verse is speaking about Israel, right? We can see if it says talking about Israel, because it called it name. It said, for not Israel a derision unto thee. Was he, who's the he? Israel. Was he found among thieves? For since those speak it of him, who is the him? Israel. Those keep it for joy. Isaiah 53, 2. For he, who is the he? Israel, shall grow up before him as a tender plant and as a root out of a dry ground. He, who is the he, had no form nor comeliness. When we shall see him, who is the him? Israel. There is no beauty that we should desire him. Who is the him? Israel. Not J-U-S-U-S. But let's dig some deeper into this verse here. Right? It said, for he shall grow up before him as a tender plant. Now, who is referred to as a tender plant? I actually show you that it's Israel now, but can we find where the Most High refer to Israel as a plant, or compare Israel to a plant? Right? Can we find that? Can you, who is say this is talking about J-E-S-U-S, find where the Most High compare J-U-S-U-S to a plant? I'm going to prove that the Most High have called Israel a plant, or compare Israel to a plant. Can you do the same? Because we're going through Isaiah 53 verse by verse and looking at particular words, especially the words that you Christians or you believers in JUSUS want to point and say it's JUSUS. I'm going to show you that those same words are referring to Israel and not JUSUS. Right? So let us check and see if Israel has been referred to as a plan by the Most High before or by anyone before. So we're going to look at Isaiah 44 verse 1 to 4. Isaiah 44. See it in Isaiah before we go anywhere else. Isaiah 44 verse 1 to 4. He said, Yet know, hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus said the Lord, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I'll pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thy offspring. And they shall spring up as amongst the grass, as willows by the water course. So we see the Most High pouring what? On the dry ground. And who shall spring up? What normally spring up out of the ground? Right? Plant. Isaiah 53 said, For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. And as you can see here, it said, Yet know. So we see here in Isaiah. So we see we're in Isaiah 53, 2. It says, For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, as a root out of a dry ground. We go to Isaiah 44 and it said, Thus said the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. So who's going to spring out of this dry ground now? Watch it. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed. Whose seed? Jacob's seed. And my blessing upon thy offspring. And they, who's the they? Those offspring of Jacob the Israelite. And they shall spring up as amongst the grass, as willows by the water. Spring up out of the dry ground. As Isaiah 53 and 2 said, For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. Right? Let's see if we can find anywhere else where the Most High refer to Israel as a plant. Let's turn to same Isaiah 44. But we're going to look at same Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5. And we'll look at verse 7. So Isaiah 5, 1 to 7. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thy... Sorry, wrong scripture. Isaiah 5, we should be reading, and 7. It said, For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. Vineyard. Israel being compared to a plant. Vineyard. And the men of Judah is pleasant plant. Who? The men of Judah is pleasant plant. And they look for judgment, but behold, oppression. For righteousness, but behold, a cry. So here the Most High is saying that Israel, right? House of Israel and the men of Judah, pleasant plant. Vineyard. We can look also at Hosea 14, 5 to 6. I've went there already and I've read it. Right? But we can go back there and look at it. We're looking at Israel being compared to or referred to as a plant. As in Isaiah 53, 2. So it said, Hosea 14, verse 5 to 6. I will be as a dew unto Israel. He shall grow up. He shall grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon. His branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree, and his smell as Lebanon. So the Most High again comparing Israel to a plant. Right? Jeremiah 2, 1 to 2, 3, 4, and 21. Also Isaiah 27 and 6 shows where Israel is being compared or referred to as a plant. So you see where we have seen where Israel has been compared to or referred to as a plant, right? And I would like you to show me where JUSUS has been compared to or referred to as a plant, right? And as I said to you, Jeremiah 2, you can go and look at it quickly. Give us some more evidence of Israel being compared to or referred to as a plant. So Jeremiah 2, verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Most High came to me, saying, Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus said the Most High, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thine espousal, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, and in a land that was not sown. Verse 3. Israel was holiness unto the Most High. So we know it's talking about Israel. Israel was holiness unto the Most High, and the first fruit of his inheritance. Right? All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, said the Most High. He said, verse 4, Hear ye the word of the Most High, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. What word? Slide on to 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine. So here again, Israel is being compared to or referred to as a plant. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. Oh, then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me. Right? Isaiah 52. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He had no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. We have seen where Israel has been compared to or referred to as a plant, tree, branches, vine, first fruit. All of those things that is synonymous with plant. Right? We can even look at the part that said no beauty. You can look at Isaiah 52:14 for the top. It said, As many were astonished at thee, his vestige was marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. So there's no beauty, vestige marred. Right? And Lamentation 2 verse 15 will show you again that beauty of Israel was taken away by the Most High because of our disobedience, and because of our disobedience of our foreparents. Right? Isaiah 53 verse 3. Isaiah 53 verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrow and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it our faces from him. He was despised and we esteem him not. So this is one of the verses where the Christians will, or believers in JC will go to say that, yeah, Isaiah 53 is speaking about him. Because they say, he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrow and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it our face from him. He was despised and we esteem him not. But let us break down and go to, let's look into this verse even deeper and see, really and truly, if this is referring to JUSUS, or this is also part of what has happened to Israel. So Isaiah 53. So we ask the question, who is despised and rejected? Can we find where Israel has been despised and rejected of men? Let's go to Jeremiah 30 verse 14. Jeremiah 30 verse 14. Remember, line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little, there a little. Jeremiah 30 verse 14. All thy lovers have gotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. So we see where the Most High is saying to Israel, right? All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They have rejected Israel because of what the Most High have done. The other nations turned their back on Israel, right? All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. They reject Israel. They don't look out for Israel anymore, because the Most High admired us, have taken away our beauty, have turned us into a degenerate. We have turned into a degenerate plant in front of the Most High because of our sins, because of idolatry, because we decided that He's not good enough for us. So we are going to go and serve the gods of the nations. And we have been doing that from the time we come out of Egypt up to this day. Because JUSCS is not the God of the Israelites. It's not the Savior for the Israelites. It's the Savior for the Creator. The person who created, and the nation that created him, which is the Romans and the Greeks, right? Those are the person who created the idol, JUSUS. It's just one more line in their long lines of idols that they have. Zeus and the rest of them, right? The plethora of gods that they have. They have a god for every season. They have a god for every month and every day of the week. And those are the gods that we have turned to. And that is why the Most High marred us and give us up. And that is why the nations now, as it said, reject us. We can't get back on top until the Most High put us back on top. Right? So it said, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Jeremiah 33:24. Let's look at that. Jeremiah 33:24. It said, considerest thou not what these people have spoken, saying, the two families which the Most High had chosen, He had even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should no more a nation, that they should be no more a nation before them. Again, we see who was despised, right? It said, consider thou not what these people have spoken, saying, the two families. Which two families? Amos 3:1-2. Let us go there to show you which two families the Most High is talking about. Because you might be thinking that it's not about Israel, but it's always about Israel, my people. Always. So Amos 3:1-2. Let's look and see which family. Hear this word that the Most High had spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So when you see the other nations are being blessed, yeah, the Most High giving them that blessing. But the Most High said He's going to punish us, because those nations will get their punishment eventually. Right? But the Most High is punishing us for our iniquities. Right? So again, it said in Jeremiah 33, consider thou not what these people have spoken, saying, the two families. And if you understand, the word families is plural. Why is saying two families? And in Amos he said family, because the Most High took us out as one family out of Egypt. And then while we were in the land, we became from Solomon's son, right? The nation split into two different families, or two different nations. Where you have the nation of Judah, the kingdom of Judah, and you have the kingdom of Ephraim, right? Or referred to at times as Israel, right? And the kingdom of Judah referred to as Judah, Jerusalem, right? So that's how you get the two families. That's where the split come, right after Solomon's death and Solomon's son, right? In that story, you can find it in Kings, right? You can find it in Kings, or you can find it in probably Samuel's. Right? But that's not what we are here to discuss today. So I want to show you again that the nation of Israel, as it said in Isaiah 53, let's read it again to remind you. He is despised and rejected of men. And that is why we go to Jeremiah 33 to show you who is despised. It said, consider though not what these people have spoken, saying, the two families which the Lord had chosen, he had even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before me. Right? Again, we can turn to Isaiah 49:7 to look again. Isaiah 49:7. Isaiah 49:7. It said, thus said the Most High, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him who man despise, and to him who the nation abhorred. So the nation despised and hate Israel. Again, you can go Isaiah 60. Go to Isaiah 60. These are all places I'm showing you where the most, where I've said that Israel has been despised and rejected. Right? Isaiah 60, verse 14 to 15. It said, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the sole of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Most High, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken, rejected, and hated, abhorred, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. So we see here it said, whereas thou hast been forsaken. So who was forsaken? Israel. Right? We can also look at Zephaniah. Zephaniah 2. Zephaniah. We're around there right after Habakkuk. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourself together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Right? Speaking about Israel. So we can safely say that Isaiah 53:3 is not talking about JUSS, but it's talking about the nation of Israel. And just to throw a little spanner in the works, was Christ despised and rejected of men? Because we can read where we see thousands of persons in the New Testament, following him, multitude, it said, right? Multitude is not a 1 and 2 person. Multitude. When I time, the New Testament says 5,000 persons were feed with fish and bread. That not sound like somebody that was rejected and despised. That sound like somebody that was desired, person wanted to see him. We even read when that Lazarus was risen by him, as the New Testament said, person come there to see him and to see Lazarus. That not sound like person that was despised. And if you don't believe me, one of the instances you can turn to Matthew 19. Let's go there and read it. One of them where you say, and turn to Matthew 19 and read verse 1 to 2. So Matthew 19. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these saying, he departed from Galilee and came into the coast of Judea beyond Jordan, and great multitudes, not just any multitude, no, great multitudes follow him, and he healed them there. So you see, that's not a man that was despised and rejected. That's a man that was loved, right? So let's continue. Isaiah 53:4. So we have to show you that Isaiah 53:1, Isaiah 53:2, Isaiah 53:3 not talking about JUSUS. Let us look if we can squeeze him in Isaiah 53:4. It said, surely he had borne our grief and carried our sorrow, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of the Most High, and afflicted. So here again, they say, yeah, we have seen where in the New Testament where JUSS has been stricken. So it's talking about him. Yes. It's talking about him. No. Still not talk about him. Because we're going to show you where all of this happened to Israel. Right? So it said, surely he had borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. So Isaiah 53 verse 4 said, surely he had borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of, it said, God, and afflicted. So we're going to look at these words. We're going to look at sorrow, right? It said, surely he had borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Let's see if this happened to Israel. Exodus 3 and 7. Let's go to Exodus 3 and 7. Exodus 3 and 7. Front of the book. Exodus 3 and 7. It said, and the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmaster, for I know their sorrows. So we see where Israel, right, have been under sorrows, as it said, surely he had borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Right, we see where Israel is associated with sorrows. Now, you see the funny thing about this thing here, you know, when I read this scripture here, Exodus 3 and 7, it said, and the Lord said, and the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry. So the Most High heard their cry. When the Most High heard the cries of the Israelites, what did he do? It said, by reason of their taskmaster, for I know their sorrow, and I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land. So when the Most High heard our sorrows, or hear our cries, up to him, our cries go up to him, and him hear it, and decide that he's going to deliver us out of the hands of the Egyptian. But the Son of God, who so-called Son of God, who the Christians say is the Son of God, based on John 3, right? John 3. He also cried out to the Most High, you know? Right? Remember no. In Exodus, what I just read, it said, Exodus 3 and 7, it said, and the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry. So the Israelites cried out because of the taskmasters, because of what the Egyptians are doing to them. So they cried out to the Most High, and the Most High said, I'm here. You know who else cried out to the Most High? I'm going to read it to you, and then make you pass your own judgment. Right? Let's go to Matthew 24. We're just going to look sidetrack a little bit to show you something. Matthew 24. Let's go to Matthew 24. Matthew 24. And we're going to slide down to verse 46. So Matthew 24, 46. It said, and about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Right? So, he cried out to the Most High, because he said, my God, and since Christians said that Jesus God, Paul said to Jesus God is, right, the Most High. He cried out to him, just like how Israel cried out to the Most High. Israel sent Moses to deliver the Israelite out of the Egyptian hand. But funny thing is, he never delivered JUSCS out of the Pharisees or out of the Romans, and if they want to put it like that to the Christians, right? They actually never said no help for him, none at all. Because as I can see, continue to read, it said, some of them that stood there when they heard that said, this man called for Elijah. And straight away one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. JUSCS, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yield up the ghost. So the Most High never sent Elijah to help him at all, even though the people them think he must say Elijah, but the scripture said the verse in Matthew say must say Eli, Eli. But when we, our people, when we were in Egypt and we cried out to the Most High, him sent a deliverer, him sent a savior, which was Moses at the time. In this case, nobody came for him, because the Most High never listened to him, because the Most High don't listen and respect idols. Right? Because JUSS is the idol of the other nations. So the Most High now rescue idols. Right? So that was just a sidetrack. But what we say, sorrow. Let's go to Jeremiah 30 and 15 and look at sorrow. So we're looking at sorrow to see if Israel, nation of Israel, is under sorrow. So Jeremiah 30 verse 15, and it read, why criest thou of thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto you. So the Most High again is saying to Israel, right? Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrows is incurable for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto you. As I have said earlier up into the video, Most High have done these things unto us, marred us, our visitors marred us, right? Allows us to be despised and rejected because of the sins of us as a nation and the sins of our foreparents. And it's still happening to us, because we are still doing the one thing that the Most High despise and hate and abhor, right? Which is to do idol worshiping, right? The Most High hate it when we give His glory unto any other entity. Don't care whether you consider him to be the Most High son or not. Once you decide that you're going to equate or equal him to the Most High, then that's idolatry, and that's why the Most High is continuing to put in a beating down on us as a nation, as a people. Right? So until we wake up and realize that the Most High, as him said all throughout Isaiah, him stand alone, and there's no Savior beside him, and there's no God, there's nobody to you to pray to in their name for your prayer to get to the Most High. The Most High is still going to beat us down until we get that into our thick skulls. Yeah? So Isaiah 53 also said, let's go back to Isaiah 53, 4. Pick it up again. Said, so we look at sorrow. Yet we did esteem him stricken. Right? So where I said stricken. We look at that word stricken. Jeremiah 5. Look at Jeremiah 5. Who was stricken? Jeremiah 5. Jeremiah 5 verse 1. Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now and know, and seek in the broad places thereof, if ye can find a man, if there be any that executed judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon it. And though they say, the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Who is the them here? We read one again, so you know what it's talking about. It said, run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is synonymous with Israel, right? Or the Israelites, right? Judah, capital. And see know and seek in the broad place thereof, if ye can find a man, if there be any that executed judgment, that seeketh the truth. What's the truth? The Most High law is the truth, right? And I will pardon it. And though they say the Most High, it said here the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. And that's what most people do. They swear falsely because they are talking about the Most High, but yet still them equate him to our idol, right? Oh Lord, it said Lord here, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them. So we see where Israel has been stricken. Who stricken us? The Most High. For they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their face harder than a rock. They have refused to return. So we see where Israel has been stricken. Let's go back again to Isaiah 53, 4 and pick it up again. It said, Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God. So can we find where the Most High smit Israel? Right? Can we find that? Let us see. Micah 6 and 4. Let's go there. So we're looking at who was smitten of God. Right? Micah 6 and 4. Micah goes to the back of the book. Micah. Yeah. So we are there. Right before Nahum. Right after Obadiah. Right after Jonah, should say. So Micah 6 and 4. It said, for I brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And we know who the Most High brought up out of the land of Egypt. So we know this is talking about Israel. For I brought thee up out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed thee out of the house of servants. And I sent before thee Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. So we have no doubt who we're speaking about here. Slide down to 6 now, to 13. Right? It said, therefore also will I make thee sick, in smiting thee, in making thee desolate because of thy sins. So the Most High said, therefore also will I make thee sick, in smiting thee, smitten of God. Let's go to Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5:25. It said, therefore is the anger of the Most High kindled against his people. Who is the Most High people? Israel. And he had stretched forth his hand against them, and had smitten them. Since you want to see the word smitten, had smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the street. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out, still stretched out arm. Right? So it said, smitten of God. And I've shown you where the Most High is smitten his people. Who is his people? Not the Christians. Right? His people is the sons and daughters of the man called Jacob, whose name was turned, or whose name was transferred and known as Israel. Right? We can also go to Isaiah 24 and 12. Let's see what let's say. Isaiah 24:12. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Right? And we can read the rest of the chapter that I will know is speaking about Israel again. Right? Jeremiah 2 and 30. Jeremiah 2 and 30. Jeremiah 2 and 30. Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 30. In vain have I smitten your children. They receive no correction. Your own sword I devour your prophets like a destroying lion. Again, showing where the Most High is smitten who? Israel. Right? Let's look at Jeremiah 14:19. Staying in Jeremiah, we're going to 14. Chapter 14. So I'm showing you all over the scriptures where Israel has been smitten by the Most High. Right? Ask a Christian who smit JUSS, and they will tell you that it's Satan. Right? The devil. Right? So they're not going to say it's the Most High. I might say it's the devil, you know? Yeah. So Jeremiah 14 verse 19 we want to read. It said, as thou utterly rejected Judah, had thy soul loathed Zion, why hast thou smitten us, and there is no healing for us? We look for peace, and there is no good, and for the healing, and for the time of healing, and behold, trouble. So Jeremiah, or the author in Jeremiah is saying, as though utterly rejected Judah, it's asking the question of the Most High, as thy soul loathed Zion, why hast thou smitten us, and there's no healing for us? We look for peace, and there's no good, and for the time of healing, and behold, trouble. So we see again, who's smitten? Israel. Isaiah 53:4, let's go back to it again. Because we continue to break it down. It said, smitten of God and afflicted. Can we find where Israel was afflicted? Sure we can. Let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings. Book of Kings. So we're going to 2 Kings. 2 Kings 17. 2 Kings 17. And we're going to read verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel. Remember when we have Isaiah 53:3, who is despised and rejected. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflict them, and deliver them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. So we see where Israel was afflicted. Micah 4. Let's go to Micah 4. Micah 4. And we're going to pick it up from verse 6 to 7. In that day said the Most High, will I assemble her that altered, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. And I will make her that altered a remnant, and her that was cast far off, a strong nation. And the Most High shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth even forever. So it said, in that day said the Most High, will I assemble her that altered, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. 2 Kings, I just read it to you, 17:20. Show you who the Most High afflicted. You want me to read it to you again? I'll go and read it to you again. I'll probably come out to your head already. And the Most High rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them. So the Most High afflicted who? All the seed of Israel. Micah chapter 4 verse 6 said, in that day said the Lord, I will assemble her that altered, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. So even though you don't see the name Israel in this chapter here, based upon 2 Kings 17:20, we know who the Most High had afflicted. Right? The seed of Israel. The nation of Israel. Good. Jeremiah 30 and 15. Let's go there to see some more places where Israel was afflicted. Jeremiah 30 verse 15. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. So the Most High said, why criest thou for thine affliction? Right? Israel. Why you cry for your affliction? Who's being afflicted? Israel. Not JUSUS.